So, gamers, I was sitting here and I was like, let's record some videos. I realized I've never done a video talking about Zenless and Zero events, and so I want to do that because oftentimes you guys hear me calaze the game, obviously, for all valid reasons, of course. Uh, and one of those, big ones is typically the events. I talk about how good the events are in this game. Not all of them are to that equal extent, right? Obviously. That being said, I haven't made a video dedicated towards it, and I might as well do one of me, well, of showing you my skill issue with the rhythm games. I suck at rhythm games. I don't know why this is, I just can't do them, right? I can do fighting games and I can do this game's combat like perfectly, right? To where it's effectively like if I had perfect rhythm. But when it comes to actual rhythm events, I just suck at it, alright? Every time they do one of these in these games, I am terrible at it. And that's essentially what this is. You can already see. Because like I can hear it. I've got like the speaker on. And even if it's timing it, like I've like, this is not me even like rage baiting at all. Wait. I just have a genuine skill issue with this kind of stuff, and I do want to know what other people's thoughts are the events like overall in this game, because I think for the most part these events are pretty good. I'm not the biggest fan of these rhythm events. They're less interesting gameplay wise to me, but a lot of the events like the Bang Boo TFT one I think is fine. Like, I don't like TFT in of itself. Like, you would have seen that with my previous video on like Scarlet Nexus, right? Wait, no, wrong game. Honkai Nexus Anima. I don't know how I messed those names up. There we go. Nope. But yeah, some of the events in this game, they're not created equal, right? Some of them I think are much worse than others, and others are like, gold events. Like, I'd be like, oh, this is sick, I want to log in and play this, right? Typically what they've been doing, like, with the more recent updates is they've been, ever since 2.0, or not 2.0, it was 1.4, I think. No, I'm stupid, 1.3. They started doing this thing where they do these like character stories and then the events alongside it, like with the Seed one, where you've got Seed's event here, the one dedicated towards her, which has you do the story as, extra rewards for doing the story, that update, and then you've got your extra stages that typically have, some like extra content in there. Those I think are pretty good, and generally what should be there pretty much every single update. Obviously some updates don't have it, like last update, did last update have it? I don't remember if last update had it, but not every update has specific character stories. They just have like, oh, hey, here's your TV schedule for the specific character, right? Stuff like that. Those I always think are pretty good. These resource ones, I'll be real, I don't count these as real events. I just think it's like, hey, limited time, you get 2x resources, whatever, who cares? I don't really count this as like a full-scale event. When I'm talking full-scale event, I'm talking like, this stuff where it's like Tales of the Midsummer Dreams, the fishing event here, which I will say last update was pretty good because we did get both of these, so like, that's awesome. But obviously not everything is created equal, for that exact thing, right? And then we get our mini events like this rhythm one, which I think are pretty good, and I believe, because they updated this a while ago, it's going to be under here. Actually, take a look. Announcements, game issues, what's this? An issue in Deadly Assault where the text description of the buff clarity contains an error. The actual buff effect should be agent's max HP is 25% and sheer force damage by 50%. This issue will be fixed in 2.3. The fix will only correct the buff's description, not the actual buff. Okay, never mind. I thought that was something else, but obviously we have this event calendar, and like earlier in this update we had the login stamina event where you just log in, spend stamina, and then you talk to the NPC. Again, I don't really think that's the most engaging gameplay, so like that event I'd probably rate pretty low, but of course it's going to give you some extra resources. That's kind of what the events are for, so that's always good. Same thing with the Spotlight Showdown, which I'm trying to remember. This is the one where you just do some fights, right? I'd have to take a look at the list. I actually completely forgot. Yeah, no clue, honestly. Doesn't matter. Point is, this event, if it is that combat event that they typically run like every other update where it's like, hey, here's, like 10 stages, clear them, you get extra resources. Those I think are great. Those are fun. And then we of course got the ones like we have currently, where it's a mix of things like again the double resources. We've got this one where honestly I don't even know what this one is. I haven't done it yet. We can take a look at this. Why not? That's like the whole point of this video, anyways. Just talking about these events. What events do you guys think are good? What events do you prefer, and all that good stuff? Because again, I prefer ones that really give you some interesting gameplay or provide some sort of variety, and not so much the rhythm ones or the ones that are just log in and spend stamina, right? Like those I don't really consider as like, again, quote unquote real events, as to me they don't provide any reason for you to log into the game. It's just your typical log in and, you know, spend stamina type thing, which, you know, is here nor there. Obviously I do think there's a place for those events, but as I've said before in previous videos, that I think this stuff should be staggered proportionally. Zenless does a pretty good job of it. You can see the schedule in game of how things are staggered. I think it does a pretty good job at like spacing content out, but I do think at the same time they can do more overall events. Like I do think every update should have 2 double drops events. Zenless has pretty much been doing that, so great job. That was not typical with Genshin Impact and until they've done it more recently. And then Star Rail has started doing that ever since like the first anniversary, I remember correctly. I don't remember, it's been way too long for Star Rail, but they've started doing that. And so I think it's a good thing that all these games now are sort of parody where they do 2 double drops events every single update. I think they should do that, but that should be on top of all of your other event content, in my opinion. I don't think those events qualify. Is this another picture event? I think this event's mid. I don't think those double drops events should qualify as like quote unquote event content. I think it should be on top. Like they should always run one, I would say, at least in my opinion, I think they should run double drops events at the start of the update and at the very end of the update, right? So you have a 2 weeks of double drops at the start and end of like every update, right? So again, it's back-to-back 2 weeks, that's what I'm saying. So like you can do like 2x relic drops at the start of every update, and then your 2x resource drops at the end of the update, something like that. I think that's how they should be. In Zenless, they only last for like 5 days. It's really weird how they made them shorter. But in comparison to the Star Rail, the reason why I bring this up is because in Zenless, you only get your 1 run of double drops, but then it's for 5 days. So you get 1 run for 5 days, 5 total runs, right? If you miss a day, you're out of luck. In Star Rail, they allow you to now just stack up all your double drops onto 1 day. So you get all of your double drops that you would get for that domain. You can just burn through all of them in 1 day if you wanted to. I wish Zenless did something like that with its double drops campaigns. I honestly find it annoying because if I miss a day like I did yesterday, unfortunately I missed a day, I can get those double drops. That I think sucks. And so I would prefer that to happen overall. But then of course, as what I've been saying is that I do think the event should last from effectively Monday to the next Monday, so that there's that day buffer of the actual update day. That's when I think they should run the double drops events, and then from update day to, you know, the next like Tuesday, that would be the new double drops event going into the next update. That's why I think they should do that alongside the other event content, like this event that I'm doing right here, this find the object one. It's apparently we're going on a treasure hunt. I think that should be on top of this other content, right? And so that would be, again, my feedback to the team if this somehow gets a Hoyoverse. I really never expect anybody to watch these videos, to be fair, but it would be nice to hopefully see you know, continuous improvements of the game like they've been doing. That's just an eggplant. That's not a bamboo. That is an eggplant. But yeah, as for the other events, the main events, I think they've been pretty good. The main event for this update is okay, if you want to call it like a main event, because I mean, it didn't really feel too much like one, but it's the Bamboo one where you basically do Balloons Tower Defense with Bamboos. I love Balloons Tower Defense, but in my opinion, this mode doesn't have enough. Now, I know some of you that's going to sound insane, right? That like, there's no way you're saying it's this one. This mode doesn't have enough. Well, I honestly don't think it does. This is the third time they've done the Balloons Tower Defense. But if you've played actual balloons, you know how much like depth there is of how, you know, the upgrade paths of each character in the current modern balloons. I don't know if they're on balloon 7 or not. The last I remember there's balloon 6, but the last time I was like kind of serious about it was balloons 5. Anyways, with that, there's these upgrade trees. Each monkey has its own upgrade tree so that you can eventually, after you upgrade them to level 3, they split off into 2 different types. So like the wizard monkey can become the fire or the lightning monkey, or like the fire wizard, lightning wizard monkey, for example. One of those things. And I'm sure there's some Bloons fans that could like tell me that I'm wrong about that. But you get what I'm saying. It's like there's more depth to the systems. There's more stages you can do and variety there. I know this is just a gacha event, but wouldn't it be cool if this had that depth and variety in terms of the gameplay they could do? Like, they give us these stages and they give us these like super hard stages at the very end to like, you know, mess around and do stuff with. But there's not a lot there. But you know what'd be really fun is if they added, because again, this is just a rehashed event. If they enhance this event, gave us those different branching paths, that depth in terms of the balloons gameplay, because they've already have a ton of bang boos now that give you, you know, a variety of different, you know, abilities to use and, you know, strategize around. Imagine if they expanded this gameplay and made it like a full-on balloons mode within Zenless that you could do custom stages with. Like, you can do an actual balloons. You can do custom balloons. You can the sandbox mode. You can do like infinite money and then upgrade whatever you want. Just mash the screen. That I think would be sick as a permanent in-game mode. And that's another thing I want to mention. I do think it's worth mentioning is that Star Rail and further Genshin Impact, they have multiple in-game modes. Star Rail just got a 4th in-game mode and is about to get a 5th like consistent gameplay mode, right? Because right now the consistent gameplay modes are, I'm separating the two in terms of like consistent gameplay modes and in-game because there is a distinction there in terms of what they are meant to be for, and versus like how often they, you know, reset and give you like, you know, your traditional rewards, right? That being, you have MOC, Apocalyptic Shadow, and Pure Fiction as your 3 in-game modes, and they just added a 4th one, Anomaly, Arbitration, right? That one is like the Giga Whale mode, going crazy, blah blah blah, right? And then you have your what I'm calling the consistent gameplay modes, being Simulated Universe, and a new one that's going to be Currency Wars, right? So they're going to have 5 different game modes, right? Genshin Impact, they initially had Spiral Abyss, and then eventually they added what's it called, Engram Theater, and I don't into something theater. You know what I'm talking about if you've played the game. And then they've added a new one more recently called Stygian Onslaught. I believe that's what it's called. Zenless only has 2 in-game modes, and I think it's time, because it's been a year at this point, that we get a 3rd in-game mode, because we need something, all right? I do like both of the current ones, but I do think there needs to be more in-game, or at least more modes for us to do. And that's where I think something like this could be an interesting gameplay thing that the team can expand upon, or we can just get something completely different, like maybe like a horde mode. I feel like a horde mode would be interesting because that would really push AoE and grouping characters, something that the game currently doesn't do all too much. Who knows? Maybe just like a timed horde mode to see how fast you can clear. That would allow a lot of older characters, like let's say Anton, who has some AoE abilities with his ultimate, right? Does it like a last AoE to get some more value. Who knows, right? Maybe that makes Caesar's alternate heavy, or alternate basic, I mean, like her hold basic, right, where she does the spin, actually valuable. Assuming it actually was good at grouping and stuff like that. Caesar sucks, but like, you get what I'm saying. It's like, who knows? Maybe there's gameplay to explore there that they could do something like that that give us a new in-game mode, or of course more gameplay modes. Because right now, again, the game has, you know, multiple, but I do think there could be more because they've kind of shifted the design philosophy for a lot of these things and design things in terms of how the modes are. Because like we're no longer getting Withered Domain updates, and I do love Withered Domain. I do like the TV gameplay. I know a lot of people don't, but like I do think it'd be interesting to have this stuff. But then, yeah, like, again, this is the last we've seen of this, and they've only been upgrading Lost Void, and, like, Lost Void is fun and all, but this is effectively the same thing as our Simulated Universe, right? So we've got one Simulated Universe, and we have 2 in-games, compared to Star Rail, which is 4 in-games, and they've got, you can just call it 2 Simulated Universes, right? Simulated Universe and Currency Wars. I want more weekly content for us to look at, right? So, and first off, great that Zenless's in-game resets weekly, and keep it that way. Give us a 3rd one that also resets. Well, it'd be bi-weekly, and I know there's the current 2, but like you could make this 3rd one reset weekly, and it's gonna be like alongside this, right? Lost Void, right? I think that'd be great, something to add to the game. And that's honestly what I want them to do, something to look forward to, because as I've been saying this whole time, like, I don't think these events are truly enough. To go back to what I was saying at the beginning, like, I like this, and it'd be really cool to have this mode as like a full-on gameplay mode in the game to expand upon. That'd be sick. But then also, they also have to release these like more of these like events contents more often, because what I would prefer, right, as I said, like, you have your double drops events at the start and the end of the update, and then in between it has these other little events scattered around. So like, you can do one of these treasure hunt events, sure, that works. You can do that alongside your double drops event for the first week. That second week comes along, or well, actually, to be fair, I think the main events should drop that first week. So you drop your double drops, and then maybe day 2 you drop your main event, which would be this, right? And then week 2 is when you go in and drop, boom, treasure hunt event, right? And then sometime in week 3, or in the middle of week 2, something like that, you drop your, your mini event, right? At this rhythm event, for example. And then week 4, you drop the new character with main event 2. All right, that's what I want to see. So it's second main event, right? And then week 5, mini event. Week 6, mini event with your final double drops event. That's what I prefer it to happen. Obviously, we can like look at the schedule, for example. They already do that to some extent, where it's like, hey, here's the main event here with Seed that's going on, and then like a bit into the update, it's like halfway into week 1, we get the actual main event of the update, which goes all the way to the end. And then in the week 2, they drop a Wish Drift in the Bottle, which is your just login stamina event, which again, I don't really think about this as a major one. But here's the thing. Imagine if they instead, on week 2, they had dropped this treasure hunt event. And then week 3 is your stamina event, which goes into the next patch, or in the next half of the patch, right? Phase 2. And then phase 2, right here where they dropped this one, right? You would do exactly this. You drop this, but then on week 5 is when you drop the rhythm event. See, it's almost like this, but we're just a bit off, right? Again, I think they should do just a couple more events, and then hopefully maybe a bigger event along like the second half of the patch. Like, we're almost there. I just want a little bit more. That would be great. But the main thing I'm talking about, or I want to express, is that I don't like some of these events, right? I think that's pretty clear. And I do wish there'd be a bit more, because as I've been saying this whole time, that some of these I don't really consider full-on events. And the ones that are obviously like this rhythm one, I don't like very much. I much prefer, again, like the Bang Boo gameplay one, and these like combat stages, right? I was forgetting what they're called for a second. I don't know if anybody feels the same way, but that's my like little yap about the events in this game, right? Not all of them are created equal, and I wish there was a bit more of them in terms of like feeling like I want to log in and actually play the game, right? That's what I'm hoping for. Just to give like a summary about that, because I know I just be yapping for this video. That's what I do on this channel sometimes, right? That's just what it is. So you guys can tell me your thoughts down below. I'll wrap this up in saying that, like, I like some of the events, not all of them, right? They can do more events, right? They can do better events, right? And I want another in-game mode, or at least another gameplay mode that refreshes weekly to give us more weekly content. Those are the things I'm hoping for. Yeah, so tell me if you like these events down below. I think they're kind of cool. Not all of them are cool. Some of them kind of suck. But generally, I think these events, with how simple they are a lot better and a lot more interesting than these other gacha games that do the events where their systems either suck or the events themselves are just, boring, honestly. Because, again, I'm criticizing the login spend stamina ones in this game. Goes for all those other gacha games, right? So, yeah, like, subscribe to me on Twitch, and tell me your thoughts down below. What do you think of the events of Zenless? What do you want to see, and all that good stuff. And peace out.